Gigafactory, Nevada, for the Tesla semi-production line and for the 4680 in-house cell production. And yeah, some Megafactory stuff. This is, so we're aiming for 40 gigawatt hours a year, both in California and in China, but I think long term, this will be much greater than this. I mean, I would say I wouldn't be surprised if long term the stationary battery pack activity went well in excess of 500 gigawatt hours per year. So the demand is like quasi-infinite here. So. As we look ahead to tackle what we see as the choke points in the supply chain, one of them is lithium refining. I mean, there have been a few times on Tesla earnings calls where I've said, can someone please just do lithium refining? Because there's just a shortage of it. But we really see very little activity outside of China for lithium refining. So it's not that we wish to take on extra problems, but since nobody else was doing it, we felt we had to do this. And so we've just broken ground on a lithium refinery in Corpus Christi, which will be do more lithium refining than I think probably everything outside of China. So, yeah. And we've signed a deal for our next Gigafactory in Mexico, Gigamexico. And I think that's going to be a fantastic factory. So, we're laying the groundwork for ultimately getting to 20 million vehicles a year. Yeah. So a Cybertruck is a hard car to make. It's because it's such a radically new design. It actually, you can't just use conventional methods of manufacturing. We had to invent a whole new set of manufacturing techniques in order to build an exoskeleton-based car instead of an endoskeleton-based car. So it's extremely non-trivial to build the Cybertruck. But we're making good progress on that. We have the, so yes, that's the thing when I, in the factory, I tour the Cybertruck line to see how we're doing there. And sorry for the delay, but we're finally going to start delivering production Cybertrucks later this year. And I think the product, if anything, is better than expectations. I mean, Cybertruck is the car I will be driving on a day-to-day basis. And people always want to know what our next product is. But this is not the time to. We obviously need to have a proper dedicated product launch. I just want to emphasize that we are actually building a new product. We are actually designing a new product. We're not sitting on our hands here. There are 2 new products that I think you will be very excited about. And both the design of the products and the manufacturing techniques are head and shoulders above anything else that is present in industry. So, yeah, anyways. If I were to guess, I would say of these 2 new products, just these 2 new products alone, I would say we will probably make, obviously this is just Elon's guess, so don't sue me. But Elon's guess is that that will probably make in excess of 5 million units a year of these two models combined. So. These are all real, by the way. I think the thing perhaps most notable is if you look at the difference between the last time we showed Optimus, and this is a video that was taken basically yesterday, and the Optimus team was up all night making this video. The Optimus team has done an incredible job. So just, yeah. And it's the motors, the controllers, the electronics, and everything you see in the Optimus robot is a Tesla-designed system. So this is, we actually tried to find drive actuators and whatnot that were off the shelf. We found that there weren't any. In order to make an effective humanoid robot, you actually have to design the motors and gearboxes and the electronics from scratch, because it's a very different application from anything else that exists. So we took our world-class motor and power electronics team and said, okay, we need to design several actuators that don't exist in the world, and they did. So Optimus is working quite well. And then for full self-driving, as full self-driving gets closer and closer to generalized real-world AI, that same software is transferable to a humanoid robot. Just like humans can obviously walk around with their arms and legs, but we can drive a car, fly a plane, steer a boat, ride a horse. If you have a generalized understanding, or if you have generalized real-world AI, which is what we are developing for full self-driving, it can be transferred to basically anything. So Optimus will use the same FSE computer as the car. The Optimus stuff is I think extremely underrated. Because people just cannot comprehend the consequences. Now, obviously, we need to make sure that we don't have a Terminator scenario. That's very important. It's all fun and games until Terminator shows up. But if you say, like, if you have had a generalized humanoid robot, what would be the effective ratio of humanoid robots to humans? Because I think basically everyone would want one. And maybe people would want more than one, which means the actual demand for something like Optimus, if it really works, which it will, is, I don't know, I mean, 10 billion units. It's some crazy number. It might be 20 billion units if the ratio is, say, 2 to 1 on people, humanoid robots versus people. It might actually be. It's some very big number, is what I'm saying, and a number vastly in excess of the number of cars. So my prediction is that Tesla's long-term value will be, a majority of the long-term value will be Optimus. And that prediction I'm very confident of. So, anyway. Let's see, so I think with that we can do questions, perhaps? Oh, okay, what is it? Oh, yeah, we also want to make sure, please, retail investors, please vote. Normally retail investors, for most companies, don't vote, but we really care about your vote of small investors, not just large investors. So please do register to vote. Your vote is very important. Yeah, I think that's it. So, yeah. I just want to say I love you guys. Well, we've got a lot of great news to talk about today. The Tesla team has done an incredible job of executing over the past year, and we have many exciting years ahead of us. So, yeah. So with the Tesla Master Plan Part 3, which admittedly was quite technical, we wanted to go into a lot of technical depth. It was clear that what we were saying was not just, were not merely assertions, but that they were backed up with physics and with real data, that it's realistic. And with the Master Plan Part 3, we want to, basically, the goal is to give people hope, realistic hope, and maybe hope's even the wrong word, but simply to say that there is a path to a fully sustainable global economy, that we are on that path, that we are accelerating that path, and that so long as we don't get complacent about it, it will happen. So I'll kind of rush through a recap of the Master Plan Part 3, but some of the salient points are that it will actually take less energy to go sustainable, not more energy. It's actually more, and some of these things may sound very obvious, but it's more energy efficient to go sustainable, not less. There's less mining that is required for a sustainable energy economy, not more. Also very important. And I heard a question raised about cobalt mining, and you know what? We will do a third-party audit. So in fact, we'll put a webcam on the mine. And if anybody sees any children, please let us know. I don't want to go off on a tangent too much on that front, but it's very important to appreciate that most of our battery packs are iron-based. A majority of our battery packs are iron-based, not cobalt. And then our other battery packs are nickel-based, not cobalt. The nickel batteries use a little bit of cobalt as a binder, but only a tiny amount. In contrast, your phones all use 100% cobalt. I recommend complaining to the phone manufacturers. Small amount of cobalt that we do use, we will make sure 6 ways to Sunday that no child labor is being exploited. Obviously, we're a company that cares a lot about doing the right thing, and we don't want to delude ourselves or delude anyone else. So, yeah, count. So, again, just recapping Master Plan Part 3, really the point is to say that it is very, very doable. It is happening. We need a threefold increase in solar and wind. We need to, admittedly, some of these are 29-fold increase in vehicle stationary and thermal battery production. Actually, in a nutshell, the way to think about sustainability is the faster we can make battery packs, the faster we can move to a sustainable energy economy. That's the fundamental limiting factor. So, I'll just grab some water here. So, yeah, I can't emphasize that point enough. The rate of lithium-ion battery production fundamentally decides the rate at which the world transitions to sustainability, because the batteries are needed for all forms of transport and for stationary storage, given the intermittent nature of solar and wind power. And we do invite people to critique our analysis, because any given analysis is going to be to some degree wrong. So that's why we put it out there, looking for critical feedback to say, well, perhaps we got some things wrong, perhaps some things need to be adjusted. But generally, the feedback we've gotten is that actually our analysis is quite accurate, and we've not seen any rebuttals thus far that would cause us to change our assumptions. So it means roughly 240 terawatt hours of battery pack, or 240,000 gigawatt hours of battery need to be produced, but it'll only take 0.2% of land area for solar and wind. So it's not like we need to carpet the earth with solar and wind. It's just literally a fraction of a percent. Roughly a $10 trillion manufacturing investment, which relative to the global economy is actually a small number. Yeah, roughly 10% of the world economy. I think 10% of the world economy is a small price to pay for a sustainable energy future. So, it's also true that even when factoring in the cost or the emissions required to produce an electric vehicle, which for now are a little higher than gasoline vehicles, when you look at the emissions over time, electric vehicles absolutely win by a long shot. And as we're seeing, the cost and the emissions required to produce an electric vehicle are dropping rapidly over time. And we're going to get to the point where an electric vehicle is cheaper than a gasoline vehicle. So in 2022, we avoided releasing about 13 million tons of CO2, reduced manufacturing GHG per vehicle by 30%, and reduced water usage by 15%, despite massive increases in output. So, we also made our factories safer, which is really important. So we track the injuries per person, and we believe at this point we are best in industry, or have the lowest injuries per person. So. We're now actually quite a big company from a headcount standpoint. This is our direct employment number. So this does not count contractors. And for every manufacturing job, depending on how you count it, there are at least 5, sometimes up to 10 jobs created, because you got to look at the total supply chain, as well as all of the support functions. So, when you create a factory like this, you actually create jobs for teachers, lawyers, carpenters, electricians, and restaurants, and everything that's required to support a person at a factory. And this is why countries and states are so interested in having manufacturing facilities in their location. So, anyways, it's a lot of people gainfully employed doing very useful things.